Sweden's bold response to Trump's tariff war, a looming trade clash with the US and EU. As tensions between Sweden and the United States soar, a major showdown is brewing over President Trump's tariffs, and Sweden is preparing to fight back like never before. The United States has already shaken global trade with its controversial steel and aluminum tariffs, followed by a wave of protectionist measures, particularly targeting the automotive industry. In response, Sweden, one of the European Union's most influential and export-driven nations, is stepping up to defend its industries and safeguard its economic future. The message from Stockholm is clear: Sweden will not back down. Sweden's steel and aluminum industries are now in the crosshairs, and the Swedish government is ready to retaliate alongside the European Union, launching a counterattack that could have far-reaching consequences for US-EU relations. Swedish officials have already hinted at a major economic battle ahead, one that could turn the tide in global trade and reshape Sweden's position in the world. Sweden's free trade stance faces a crucial test. Sweden has long been a champion of free trade and globalization, advocating for open markets and international cooperation. But the new era of tariffs under the America First agenda is putting the Scandinavian nations' unwavering commitment to free trade to the ultimate test. Sweden's high-value industries, including automotive, pharmaceuticals, engineering, and life sciences, are major players in the global market, with the United States being a significant trading partner. However, President Trump's escalating trade wars have pushed Sweden to the brink, forcing the nation to choose between defending its industries or risking major economic losses. Swedish trade ministers are firm in their stance. If Trump's tariffs continue to escalate, Sweden will stand shoulder to shoulder with the European Union to ensure that its industries are protected. "No one wins in a tariff war," said Benjamin Dare, Sweden's Minister for International Development Cooperation. "The introduction of tariffs is worrying, and it is clear that the only way forward is to defend our industries together with our EU partners." The trade war's rippling impact, automotive and beyond. If the United States proceeds with its threatened 25% tariffs on European Union goods, Sweden's automotive giants, Volvo, Scania, and others, are on the front lines of the battle. These companies have built a strong reputation in the US market, producing tailored vehicles and technologies that have been integral to the American automotive sector. Yet, with tariffs looming, the threat of losing access to this critical market is real, and Swedish companies are already scrambling to prepare contingency plans for their US operations. But the automotive sector is just the beginning. The Trump administration's trade policies could affect a broad range of Swedish exports, from high-tech engineering products to agricultural goods and medical technologies. Sweden's pharmaceutical and life sciences sectors, globally renowned for their innovation, are particularly vulnerable to the impact of these tariffs, which could disrupt not only trade, but also critical research collaborations with US institutions. A counterattack on multiple fronts. Retaliation or opportunity. While Sweden is preparing to retaliate, there is also speculation about what this moment could mean for the country's future in global trade. If the European Union responds with tariffs of its own, the US could face a significant economic blow. However, some argue that Sweden may be able to turn this crisis into an opportunity. As global demand for Swedish technology, particularly in green energy and sustainable solutions, grows in markets like Asia and Africa, Sweden could find new avenues for expansion. Sweden's engineering prowess and reputation for innovation are already winning favor in emerging markets, said trade analysts. If tensions with the US escalate, Swedish companies may look to pivot to these new markets, offering products and services that align with the growing demands of sustainability and technological transformation. However, abandoning the US market entirely is not a realistic option for Sweden's economic powerhouses. Volvo, Scania, and other major players in the automotive and engineering sectors are unlikely to turn their backs on one of the world's largest consumer markets. Still, the possibility of diversifying into new regions cannot be ignored. Will Sweden be forced to choose sides? As the threat of a full-blown trade war looms, Sweden is facing a difficult decision. If the EU and the US become entrenched in a prolonged conflict, Sweden could find itself caught in the middle, trying to maintain its long-standing relations with both sides. On the one hand, Sweden wants to protect its interests in the US and continue benefiting from its trade ties with the world's largest economy. On the other hand, the EU is urging Sweden to participate in a coordinated response to Trump's tariffs, with a focus on collective retaliation. This diplomatic balancing act is becoming increasingly difficult. Swedish ministers are adamant that they will not retreat from their position of free trade, but they are also keen to preserve Sweden's global standing as an innovation hub. The government's rhetoric suggests that Sweden is preparing for tough economic times ahead, but officials are also hopeful that negotiations could lead to a new, more balanced trade arrangement with the United States. A world of uncertainty. What's next for Sweden and the EU? The unfolding tariff wars between the US and the EU are sending shockwaves through global markets, with both sides bracing for the inevitable fallout. Analysts predict that any escalation will harm all parties involved, with costs rising, growth rates slowing, and trade volumes shrinking. But Sweden, ever resilient, may find a way to navigate through the turmoil. If the trade war intensifies, Sweden's commitment to free trade and its focus on innovation could be key to emerging from the crisis stronger than before. As the situation develops, it remains to be seen whether Sweden will manage to balance its economic interests with its diplomatic objectives. Will the country join forces with the EU in retaliation, or will it seek a compromise with the US? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: Sweden's future in the global trade landscape is at a crossroads.